Welcome to week 4, AP English Language and Composition students. And this lesson, my first lesson this week, will be some questions that you will glean the answers from my lecture. And you will just answer these questions. I'll post that document and you can return it to me in a Word document. So it's 2 documents we're going to look at up here. One you'll only see up here. But this one was from last week, T.E. Lawrence's Devoted to Freedom. And I want to focus on a few specific areas. And what I'm preparing you for is to be able to recognize stylistic techniques of all types, but we're mainly on syntax right now, and to note their effects. So the first sentence I'm going to focus you on is in paragraph 2. So I have to move that up. And it's sentence 10 right here. And what tone is created? Tone is the author's attitude towards the subject matter and or the audience, but mostly the subject matter. So the topic here. What's Lawrence's attitude that's conveyed by this one sentence? And which techniques convey it? Well, we have a subject and the verb be and a past participle. This is the passive voice. Be plus a past participle is the passive voice. And it conveys helplessness, right? And then we have it followed by passive, helpless, of morality, of volition, of responsibility. 3 what? Prepositional phrases. And they trail after the past participle drained, and it's as if they were mimicking a draining effect, emotionally draining. And then we finally have a third technique, like dead leaves in the wind. So this draining feels like the men, the Arabs, and T. Lawrence feel like they are dead leaves in the wind. This is a simile. So we have 3 techniques that convey the tone. I'm going to name the tone. It might be a word you don't know. Beleaguered, B-E-L-E-A-G-U-R-E-D. It means drained, of a very, very hopeless and drained feeling, right? So the next focus in this Devoted to Freedom is in paragraph 3. Oops, that's this paragraph right here. And we are focusing on sentences 14 and 15. The weak envied those tired enough to die, for success looks so remote and failure a near and certain if sharp release from toil. And then the next sentence we'll get to. This is a technique you learned the name of in chapter 6 from your textbook. Success looked so remote, and failure a near and certain. Okay, success remote, failure near. Obviously, we have opposites. What's that called? Antithesis, antithesis, antithesis. And so these are antithetical statements. Antithetical. I want to have you use the adjective form. And we have it in sentence 15 also. We lived always in the stretch or sag of nerves, either on the crest or in the trough of waves. Stretch, sag, crest, trough, opposites together. So these are antithetical statements. And what effect do they create? Again, just as he did before in the preceding paragraph, hopelessness and helplessness. They wanted to die, right? And they felt like failures. And their emotions were out of control, extreme ups and downs. That's pretty helpless, again. So hopeless and helpless, again. And in paragraph 4, we have one more focus. And this passage from an AP prep book is chosen too, not just for syntax, but for diction. Diction is word choice to create an intended effect. You should notice that in here, without even my help, you should notice there's a bunch of words that go under one category. All right, I'm not going to name it. You have to name it, but I'll give you the words. Hot flesh, strange longings, virile, right? Maybe candidly, man. All of those together, you name the category of what they all point to. It could be multiple things, but you have to pick something that makes sense. And then after you name that category, what's the message that Lawrence is giving? It could be an innocuous message, or it could be not an innocuous message. You can look that word up. All right, I have one more passage. So there is a famous writer from England, and his name was, sounds like a woman's name maybe to you, but his name was Evelyn Waugh. Evelyn Waugh, and he wrote the short story Bella Gave a Party. And it's in an AP prep book for syntax mainly, but diction too. And so we're going to look at some of these stylistic techniques. Now, I'm going to read it. It struck 8. Bella waited. Nobody came. She sat down on a gilt chair at the head of the stairs, looked steadily before her with her blank blue eyes. In the hall, in the cloakroom, in the supper room, the hired footmen looked at one another with knowing winks. What does the old girl expect? No one will have finished dinner before 10. So, get the main idea. Bella, obviously, is doing what? She's doing this. With how many people? Well, just her servants. And so her party has not yet arrived. What does this word mean? The chair is gilt. If something is gilded, it is gold covered. So she has a gold covered chair, not just one, I'm sure. And she's sitting there with what kind of blue eyes? Blank. These are our key examples of diction in the first half of this excerpt. And what do they indicate? Well, she is a lonely, maybe depressed, a lonely, rich woman. All right? Do we feel sympathy? Perhaps. But before I get to the syntax, we have these hired footmen. So she has servants, as I said, and she's waiting. And she is waiting because she's expecting. The guests should have already arrived. But what do the footmen do? They wink. They know that no one's going to be arriving for a fairly long period of time. And so they know something she doesn't know. What's that called? It's a type of irony, and we know too. We, the reader, know. We're clued in. It could be called dramatic irony because we, the audience, the reader, know something that she doesn't know. It could be situational, but we'll go with dramatic irony here. And finally, the syntax. It struck 8. Bella waited. Nobody came. How many items do we have here? How many types? How many sentences? 3. Where do we have 3 repeated? In the hall, in the cloakroom, in the supper room. In the hall, in the cloakroom, in the supper room. 3 whats? 3 prepositional phrases. And here we have 3 short, simple sentences. Why? What's Bella doing? Waiting. What related to waiting this is called parallelism, right? Repetition of 3s. Parallelism of 3s. It struck 8. Well, what's being described right here? That's the idea. This short, discrete, almost staccato-like repetition is what? It's a clock ticking. So the parallelism of threes imitates a clock's ticking. And why? To express the weight of time that is Bella is feeling. She is not very happy that she has to wait here. And she's pretty depressed, and so time is weighing on her. It's moving, tick, 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 not too fast. Noticeably, time is apparent. It's noticeable. So, short grammatical elements in the same type in a row, parallelism of threes indicates the slow passage of time for Bella. Is there anything else I want to bring up? I think that is about it. Oh, one more thing. The diction that these prepositional phrases convey. Hall, the object of the preposition, cloakroom, supper room, hall. We get something else through this repetition. A feel for what? The cavernous aspect of this mansion. And we get some indications of what the parts of the home look like, but mainly that she's she's lonely and in a big place all alone, a luxurious place. So that's it, and that will help you answer the question.